Coming up next on the Poke Report, OSU baseball and softball are in full swing conference play. Are both teams poised for a deep postseason run? And the Big 12 expansion is here. We will hear from the 4 schools joining the conference this fall. That and more coming up on the Poke Report.
Hi and welcome everyone to the Poke Report. I'm Asa Lucas.
And I'm Alex Tusky. We will be joined later by the 3rd member of our crew, Rowdy Barabo.
With less than a month to go, Cowboy baseball is seeking to make a late season push before the Big 12 tournament. After being knocked out of the 2022 postseason earlier than expected, the Cowboys are hoping to make some more noise in the 2023 season.
Alyssa Sanchez was at O'Brate Stadium to see the Cowboys in action this past week. Let's see how they did.
Oklahoma State hosted West Virginia this past weekend. The first 2 games did not go in OSU's favor as they fell short. They were not able to clinch the overall win of the series, but the Cowboys did break their 5-game losing streak and get back into the win column to end the weekend. OSU beat West Virginia on Sunday's game 11-6. Oklahoma State is currently 5th in the Big 12 standings with an 8-7 conference mark. Oklahoma State had a midweek non-conference game against the Sooners Tuesday. Cowboys Tyler Wolfert, Rock Riggio, David Mindham, and Colin Brueggemann all recorded home runs in the game. OSU beat OU 19-8 for the first Bedlam meet of the season. This victory bumped OSU's record to 25-13.
Oklahoma State will travel to Lawrence this weekend to take on Kansas. Friday's opener is set for 6 p.m. From the Poke Report, I'm Alyssa Sanchez.
Down the street, Cowgirls softball looks to keep up their impressive season in the closing weeks of the season. Jax Thompson was there for this weekend's series.
Cowgirls softball played a home series against Iowa State last weekend. On Friday, OSU pitcher Kelly Maxwell pitched a complete game with 11 strikeouts. The Cowgirl offense started slow but picked up in the back half of the game, culminating in a 2-run home run by Rachel Becker. On Saturday, Lexi Kilfoyle pitched the Cowgirls' 2nd complete game of the weekend, allowing 3 hits and striking out 9. Cheyenne Factor started the scoring in the 3rd inning for OSU with an RBI single. Morgan Wynn homered in the 4th to take the lead, which the Cowgirls would hold on to from there. The series may have been clinched by Sunday's game, but Iowa State came to play. The game went to 11 innings before the Cyclones scored the eventual game-winning run. With the loss on Sunday, the Cowgirls fell out of a tie for first place in the Big 12 standings, which they previously held with Oklahoma. Now a game back in the loss column, the closing stretch of the season has become that much more vital. Looking at the current standings, the Cowgirls will be matched up with Kansas if the postseason started today. With only a few series left in the season, the Cowgirls' first priority should be finishing as the top team in the Big 12. Getting the 1 seed is always important, and with the Big 12 being so top-heavy, that's especially true this year. OSU, OU, and Texas are the only Big 12 teams ranked in the top 25. If the Cowgirls could get the 1 seed, not only would they get a first-round bye, they would also be on the opposite side of the bracket as Texas and OU, meaning they'd only need to get through 1 to win the Big 12. The good news is the Cowgirls have a series remaining with both the Longhorns and the Sooners, and with them a chance to control their own destiny. For the Poke Report, I'm Jax Thompson.
Cowgirl softball only has 1 home series remaining, and it's Bedlam.
Well, that's going to be a close one, Alex.
Those games are still a couple of weeks away, but clear your calendars for May 5th, 6th, and 7th for the final regular season series.
That season finale against OU looks to be a litmus test for both teams heading into the Big 12 tournament and the postseason. There's a good chance for a rematch down the road with both teams in the top 3 nationally.
There's definitely going to be some bragging rights on the line with it being Bedlam and these 2 powerhouses of softball teams.
Do you think OSU softball knows it's our senior year?
I think they do, and I think that they're going to get us a good Bedlam win. Softball and baseball capture a lot of the attention of sport fans during the spring, but we cannot forget about our men's and women's track and field teams. The outdoor track and field season is well underway for OSU. After 4 meets last weekend, the Cowgirls are ranked 3rd in the region and 3rd in the Big 12. The 4x4 meter squad recorded another season best at the Jim Click Invitational with a time of 3:35. On the men's side, OSU ranks 5th in the Midwest region. Fawad Masoudi returned to the track, breaking the school record in the 1,500 meters last weekend. He became the 4th fastest NCAA 1,500-meter runner with a time of 3:35.16. Mehdi Yanori also made OSU history in the outdoor 800-meter, clocking in at 1:46.96. Yanori broke a 37-year-old record previously held by Paul Larkin. OSU stays in the South, traveling to Fayetteville and Norman this weekend. Both teams look to keep pace in the conference standings.
With that, we'll take a quick break, but don't leave. Rowdy will be joining us talking about Cowboy football as they spring into action, along with some off-season moves you might have missed. And later, we'll be joined by our 4 new Big 12 expansion teams as we welcome them to the Big 12 and more.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars. Like fresh packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8. Pizza.
Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges, inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie Ford Lincoln.
At ASAP Energy, our goal is to provide the best customer service for whatever our clients need.
My relationship with ASAP Energy came about in 2007. I was wanting to build a convenience store. I didn't know how to do it. I had never been in the business. I just felt comfortable with Rick. And so I knew that I wanted to do business with a guy like that. Integrity, loyalty, and family. I would recommend that to anybody. Thanks for taking a chance on me.
At ASAP Energy, everything matters.
Where were you born? It's a question asked all the time. Because where you're from shapes who you are, inspires how you do things. And when that inspiration comes from a place this refreshing, this majestic, this, well, you get the idea. Coors Light, born in the Rockies.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. We are now going to throw it to the other side of the studio where Rowdy Barbo has a Cowboy football update for us. Rowdy?
Thanks for having me on, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm Rowdy. With the warmer weather settling in, it's time for spring football. It was a busy offseason for Cowboy football, and we're going to discuss everything you need to know before the 2023 season starts. Luke Santangelo highlights the key moments that have happened since December.
The spring transfer portal opened April 15th and goes until April 30th. The Cowboy spring camp is wrapping up this week, and roster changes are expected to continue. OSU had a wild transfer portal in December and January as the Pokes lost 16 scholarships due to the transfer portal. Let's look at some key players OSU lost and gained due to the transfer portal. OSU's biggest name to enter the transfer portal is 4-year starter Spencer Sanders. Sanders threw for over 9,000 yards with 67 touchdowns in just 43 games. Sanders is now at Ole Miss. The Cowboys lost 5 receivers to the transfer portal, including Dominic Richardson, John Paul Richardson, Bryson Green, and Stephon Johnson Jr. These receivers combined for 111 receptions, 1,475 yards, and 11 touchdowns last season. Now let's look at the new offense for this Cowboys team. Pokes bring in University of Michigan transfer Alan Bowman. Bowman has thrown for a combined 5,329 yards and 34 touchdowns in his 5-year collegiate career. Cowboys are bringing in 5 new wide receivers starring Washington State transfer Dejon Stribling. Stribling was the Cougars' leading receiver last season with 51 receptions, 602 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Other key offensive threats include 3-star recruit Cameron Hurd and Arlen Bruce IV from Iowa. In the backfield, Pokes also add Michigan State transfer Elijah Collins. Now we head to the defensive side of the ball. Polk secondary took a big hit as they lost Jabbar Muhammad, DeMarco Jones, Thomas Harper, and Kenyon Williams. OSU also lost their 2 stars on the defensive side, Mason Cobb, who was their leading tackler, and defensive end Trace Ford. Cowboys added a couple defensive linemen in Anthony Goodlow and Justin Kirkland. The Pokes also added Justin Wright, who led Tulsa in tackles last season with 101 and earned him all AAC honors. Here's a quick preview of who I expect to start for your Cowboys. Some key players on offense is transfer quarterback Alan Bowman and sophomore wide receiver Blaine Green. Defensively, it starts with defensive end Colin Oliver and transfer linebacker Justin Wright. The Pokes don't have a spring game, and their first game of the season is September 2nd against Central Arkansas. For the Poke Report, I'm Luke Santangelo.
With how popular the transfer portal has been, schools certainly have to stay on their toes during the winter months. Despite those changes, spring ball allows an opportunity for players to fight for open positions. Although it was an unorthodox ending to spring ball, it was decided OSU would not hold a spring game to wrap up spring practices due to construction in progress at Boone Pickens Stadium. However, that didn't stop the players from still competing their best throughout spring practices. On offense, Michigan State transfer running back Elijah Collins has seen multiple reps in a relatively young running back room. Gundy credits Collins' experience, saying, quote, "He is always in a good mood, always smiling, and always at the office. I'm excited to watch him develop," end quote. With the departure of four-year starter Spencer Sanders, Oklahoma State looks to their QB room of young and old players. Garrett Rangel and Gunnar Gundy both saw playing time last year while Sanders was injured. Michigan transfer Alan Bowman brings in 5 years of experience with his 3 years in the Big 12 playing at Texas Tech. On the defensive side, OSU looks to the veterans like Kendall Daniels to help smooth the transition of new defensive strategies. Daniels became a reliable force in the back end last season. Defensive tackle Colin Clay is a leader through actions, but said, quote, "It's a new season where I need to step in and be more vocal," end quote. Unlike other position groups, the linebackers have experience and depth. Xavier Benson played in every game last fall and will be an important voice for the group with Mason Cobb transferring. Quote, "I feel like I finally have the voice that I wanted. I just had to stay here until it came up," end quote. There will be a lot of new faces come September 2nd versus Central Arkansas, but it is a new era of Oklahoma State football and a new era of the Big 12 Conference. That's all I have for you today. Alex, Asa, thank you for having me on.
Always a pleasure, Rowdy. Stay with us because for the first time we will be joined by our new conference opponents and hope to learn a few things about them.
The deli department at Homeland is Oklahoma's headquarters for party trays. Enjoy the time with family and friends at your next event, and let your neighborhood Homeland create the perfect fruit, deli, or cheese tray for you. The party planners at Homeland will help you choose the perfect party food, sized just right for your guests. Call us, stop in, or order online, and we'll make it ready for pickup on your schedule. Make your next party special with a party tray from your neighborhood Homeland.
Good to be home, Homeland.
Love these things. Hilarious. Sorry, force of habit.
As long as you are you, it's Miller time.
Hi, it's Sam at Louis Grill and Bar, here to introduce our new menu items from south of the border. Come try our new poblano chicken tacos, or the ever-popular sriracha shrimp tacos. At Louis, where you come for the food, but stay for the fun.
It's hard to imagine my life before her, or a day without her. So much of what I take for granted simply wouldn't exist. She is the force that holds our life together. She is my everything, the center of my universe, from Forevermark. The diamond, the promise. Available at Lewis Jewelers.
I'm Randy Heights with 1077 The Franchise, and let me tell you about the HCG diet from New Leaf Wellness and what it's meant to me. Over the last year, I've dropped 90 pounds, and this has been a lifesaver, guys. I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't always get to the gym, and what's been incredible about this diet, when I can't work out, I still lose the weight. 90 pounds in a year is a lot for anyone, but for me, it's been a miracle. Why don't you give New Leaf Wellness Centers a call and see if they can't help you with a free consultation, or go online at newleafcenters.com.
Welcome back to the final segment of the final Poke Report for the semester. Kind of bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't have wanted to co-anchor with anyone else besides you this year, Asa.
Alex, that means a lot. That goes right here.
I know.
That goes
We've
right
had
here.
a good 4 years.
You flatter me. While it is sad that our senior year is almost over, I know you and I both have a lot to look forward to post-graduation.
Yes, I am very excited for that, to see where we both kind of end up in the sports world. OSU Athletics also has a lot to look forward to in the upcoming years with the expansion of the Big 12. We are lucky enough to be joined now by representatives from each of the 4 schools joining our amazing conference this fall.
Let's start off with the team closest to us, Houston. Paige Rincon tells us a little bit about what joining the Big 12 means to Cougar Athletics.
Thank you, Asa. I'm Paige Rincon here at the University of Houston, where UH will begin Big 12 conference competition this fall. UH reached an exit agreement with the American Athletic Conference to end its decade-long membership on July 1st, 2023, setting the stage for Cougar Athletics. As we celebrate our 75th anniversary of intercollegiate competition, the University of Houston has accepted an invitation to the Big 12 Conference and will begin play in the league this fall of 2023. Joining the Big 12 Conference is a historic stride for Houston and represents the monumental rise and progression obtained athletically over the past decade. The University of Houston has much to bring to the table, as UH basketball had a close shot at competing in the Final Four this spring season, and UH women's volleyball competed in the Sweet 16. The potential to show athletic presence by joining the Big 12 Conference is something UH intends to do as they play in the league at the end of this year. UH is honored to showcase our athletic presence by joining a Power 5 conference, as we're looking forward to presenting our athletic abilities as a university. Once belonging to a powerful regional meeting, the Southwest Conference, before the Power 5 were created, UH is looking forward to competing again with the old rivals in the Big 12, along with Baylor, TCU, Texas, and Texas Tech, as well as continuing to compete with our current rivals, Cincinnati and UCF. Go Cougs! With the University of Houston, I'm Paige Rincon. Back to you, Asa.
Thank you, Paige.
You know, I think Houston may benefit from this conference realignment the most just because of the proximity to so many new conference foes. What are your thoughts on that, Paige, and do you think many Cougars fans will travel to games?
Seeing as some of the Big 12 schools reside in our home state of Texas, I can assume many students will make the travel for games. UH also has a strong traveling alumni that are sure to make the away games as well. Back to you guys.
If only we would still be here, Asa, maybe we would get to meet some of those amazing Cougar fans.
They are a really good fan base, and I don't know if you knew, well, no, you do know this, Alex. What am I even talking about?
Yeah, we've been
some of
friends
my
for 4
family
years,
lives down in Houston. Maybe there'll be a rivalry forming with me and some of them.
Oh, something to look forward to. And only time will tell. So let's travel to a city that I used to live in myself, Cincinnati. Mackenzie Barton joins us now.
Thank you, Alex. I'm Mackenzie Bartone here at the University of Cincinnati. The Bearcats coming to the Big 12 is exciting for the fans, players, and the university as a whole. Cincinnati is bringing a historic basketball program along with a historic rivalry with West Virginia. Bearcats basketball is also very competitive as they've made the March Madness tournament from 2011 to 2019. Additionally, for the past 5 seasons, UC football has been among the best in the nation, averaging almost 11 wins a season since 2018. Cincy also notably became the first non-Power 5 conference team to make their college football playoffs. One fan says he's excited to see if UC football can maintain its success in a way more competitive conference. Other fans are excited to see how the Bearcats match up in other sports like basketball, especially with Kansas State making a run for their Elite Eight. Moral of the story, don't count the Bearcats out. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Now, to some dedicated viewers, you know that Asa and I, we love to talk about food. So, Mackenzie, if we were to travel to a Cincinnati game, where should we eat?
After a game, you have to stop by our famous Skyline Chili. Skyline was founded in Cincinnati and is a fan favorite throughout the city. When you go, grab a delicious cheese coney topped with Cincinnati chili and a mountain of shredded cheddar cheese. Back to you, Alex.
Yes, good choice. I was hoping you would say that. I love Skyline chili. Asa, have you ever had it?
I haven't, but I did want to bring this up to you. I was reading an article. There's been some controversy in the chili world with Cincinnati. Have you heard about this? The Bengals are getting rid of what used to be their homemade chili, like the official chili of the team.
Bengals?
Yeah,
Are they replacing it with Skyline?
They are. They're replacing it.
I have no complaints about that. We have no complaints about that.
Well, moving back west, one team that fans have been talking about joining the Big 12 for years now is BYU. Brett Hammer, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Asa. I'm Brett Hammer here at Brigham Young University, standing outside in front of the Marriott Center. And the Marriott Center is a perfect example of what BYU brings to the Big 12. BYU is super excited to be in a conference where every game is a must-watch, must-see in every single sport. If you talk to Sean Farnham of ESPN, he talks about this all the time, that the Marriott Center at BYU, the Rock, the student section, it is must-see TV, and it completely changes the momentum when you got to come into this building. Gonzaga is a great example. There are quite a few seasons in the past few years, especially with basketball, where likely BYU shouldn't have had as good a shot as they did, but the environment here is just that different. And when you consider how great the Big 12 is at gymnastics, volleyball, football, basketball, every single event is going to be must-watch, must-see TV, and the Rock is going to show up and show out. And if you want to be the conference to take down the SEC, to take down the Big 10 in terms of being the best overall athletic conference, I'm just not sure that there's a better option than BYU.
Now, every school is bringing something new to the table, and each school has the edge in some category, I'm sure. So what advantage do you think BYU has coming into the Big 12, Brett?
In terms of what advantages BYU will have when they start Big 12 play this fall, let me just be with you like this. I was wearing shorts. It's April here in Provo. I was wearing shorts yesterday, and we're now in the 30s to 35s. So the weather here is crazy. You could get all 4 seasons in a week, sometimes a day. BYU is going to be absolutely prepared, and you're going to have teams like USF coming into Provo, teams like Houston coming into Provo, and this is going to be a little bit of a mix-up, especially when you throw that elevation in there. A lot of these teams are going to have to make major adjustments in order to continue to compete at a high level, and the Cougars are here for it.
Yeah, that's some pretty good insight. Alex, I know you weren't always a Big 12 fan growing up, but there is a very historic game with the Big 12 and BYU, and that's when Texas went into Provo and they just got absolutely rocked.
Did that not just happen with Baylor going into Provo?
No. Well, yes, but this one was even worse because the Texas defensive coordinator got fired.
Oh,
like
well.
BYU had over 500 yards of offense. It was just a nightmare. That altitude really does make a difference.
Right, but like what Brett was saying, the altitude and the weather, you know. Maybe. It'll be interesting. Now, last but not least, the 4th team joining the Big 12 is UCF. We are joined by Camden Mowry. Camden, thanks for being part of our show today.
Thank you, Alex. Camden Mowry here from the University of Central Florida, and Knight Nation is less than 5 months from getting back into the bounce house to open our inaugural season in the Big 12 Conference. Knights fans and fans of the sport watching the sports world should expect not a conference championship, but for us to be competitive in all of our games in year 1. The 2 things that UCF fans are most looking forward to is getting a rematch against former UCF quarterback Dylan Gabriel, who transferred to Oklahoma following the 2021 season. Also, UCF had the lowest number of recruits out of the state of Florida out of any Power 5 Florida program, so that'll be something that they look to improve on once they get into the Big 12. This will help them compete with not only other Big 12 teams, but other consistent top 25 programs in the college football sport. Something to note about the Knights is that the 2 top receivers, Javon Baker and Kobe Hudson, are transfers from the SEC, as well as Coach Gus Malzahn, who came from Auburn. This should help them compete against those D-backs from Big 12 conferences and from the other opponents that they played throughout the year. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Camden.
Florida isn't very close to Oklahoma, or really any of the Big 12 opponents. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that'll cause issues for some of the original conference members?
While I don't think travel is going to be the biggest thing that Big 12 opponents are looking to face, as it is a new atmosphere and a new environment that all these teams will be playing in, the Bounce House is one of the loudest stadiums in all of college football, and Knights fans look to make every Big 12 team know. Thank you, Alex, for having me on. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Camden. You know, maybe one day, Asa, you and I will be able to catch an OSU game at the Bounce House.
That's kind of surreal to think that OSU and the Big 12 will be playing in Florida now outside of bowl games.
I know, it's just like our little Midwestern conference is going off to big things, going to bigger and better things to come.
I know how a parent feels.
So it'll be very interesting to see how this conference alignment works out for everyone in the years to come. That'll do it for our show today. Asa, I'm really sad that this is our last time anchoring together.
Alex, I didn't think this was going to be as sentimental as it was, but we've been doing this since our freshman year.
I know, from back at the Daily O on this very desk, fall of 2019.
Now you're going South Carolina.
And you're going to wherever the wind takes you.
Absolutely. So, one last time for the Polk Report. I'm Asa Lucas.
And I'm Alex Susky. Thank you so much for watching. We are both so thankful for the opportunity to cover OSU sports over the last 4 years. Have a great weekend, and go Pokes!